Pavlic of Montenegro, national champion in the 800 a couple of years ago. 40 years of age now. Her best performance this year, over 10,000 metres. And here is Beatrice Berti, 5th in the small stage games over the 400 hurdles, and this perhaps her 800 debut. Can't wait to see how she goes. Maria Sargsyan, national champion over the 15 and the 8 for Armenia in 6. Kristina Chichadze, a modern pentathlete, best of 220. Azerbaijan's Anna Yusupova, a 2:42 marathon runner last year. Irma Hadjari of North Macedonia, sports science student, 2nd from the outside, and Kurez of Bosnia-Herzegovina. She ran that 2:16 in Slovakia just last month. So Kurez may be the best on paper, but let's see how the 400 hurdle specialist Berti goes for San Marino. She starts 2nd from the outside. And let's hope there are no issues with the gun on that first bend, as we saw from the men's and women's 4 hurdles. First of 2 races for the women over 800 metres. Here we go. Very relaxed Montenegrin on the start line. Pavlicevic. She has gone straight to the back, but that's understandable. She has been performing over 10,000 metres so far this season, so this perhaps a little too quick for her. As they break, it's Sargsyan, the Armenian, and on the inside, Berti, heavy strapping on that right thigh. Pretty solid. What was that? 33 plus bits at 200 metres. And also Chichadze, the modern pentathlete, coming up and looking very strong here, Alex, as she takes it on round that top bend.
Yeah, absolutely. And these athletes won't get too many chances like this to just go out and race in an 800 metres. No pacemaker, but championship conditions, and it'd be very interesting to see what happens. Could end up neutralising the race, so much so that some of the faster athletes aren't necessarily unleashing those kick until right at the end of the race.
Inside the last lap then in this first of 2 races over 800 metres for the women. It's Bosnia and Herzegovina's Gloria Kurez. She was following in the footsteps of Chikadze, the Georgian, who's now tucked in on the inside, and Sargsyan of Armenia, the national champion over 800 metres and 1500 metres, is in 2nd place. But the 21-year-old from Bosnia holding the inside line here, with Sargsyan of Armenia desperately trying to hang on. The 21-year-old's head is rocking and rolling a fraction, and Sargsyan still looks okay. The Georgian, Chichadze, trying to close the gap, and a furious burst on the outside from Yusupova. And Kurez is really struggling here, and the Armenian might hang on. Oh no, taken on the line. Azerbaijan from Armenia from Georgia. What a win, and what a last 50 for Anna Yusupova. Well, she ran 2:42 for the marathon last year, but she clearly hasn't forgotten how to run an 800 metres. 3rd in the B race 2 years ago, and she's won it this time round. 2:15, as she's taken more exactly 2 seconds from her lifetime best. Left it late, but timed it right. Victory to the athlete from Azerbaijan.
Well, that's incredible. I make it, it's her birthday tomorrow. In fact, she'll be 38, and she's got the 5,000 metres to come later on today. So what a performance from Yusupova. And yes, I mentioned that if the pack are together at the midpoint, then we might see a bit of a surprise. But in any case, it was Yusupova's excellent tactics to come through right at the end, overtaking Sargsyan and Chitadze. So yeah, you've got Azerbaijan, Armenia and Georgia, the 3 neighbours next to one another on the list. As you can see, the Montenegrin a little bit caught out there at the start. Don't often see that in the 800. Hadjari it was there.
Good running from Kures, the 21-year-old. Put under pressure by Sargsyan, but fabulous finish from Yusupova. So this was the point at which Kures started to tire. Then Sargsyan thought she'd got it. But it was, do you know what? There was something Tamsin Manu-esque about the manner of the finish there from Yusupova. Tamsin Manu, Australian World Indoor Champion back in, what was it, 08, I think. Over 800 metres. She would have been impressed by the gutsy finish there from the athlete from Azerbaijan. Not the fastest 800 we've ever seen, but a pretty gutsy one, that's for sure. So Yusupova with a PB. Sargsyan was also dragged to a lifetime best, as was Chichadze. PBs for 1, 2 and 3. And the 400 hurdler specialist, Beatrice Bertie, maybe found that a little heavy going. She finished in 6th.
On to the second race of the women's 800 metres, and the standout, most accomplished name there, Anita Hinriksdottir, former European indoor medalist. But some decent names across the board. We may yet have another surprise, but you can see there McNamara, in fact, has a faster season's best. The US-based Maltese international there. So having seen a few events in which Liechtenstein weren't involved, now suddenly they have got a good contingent. This is Carol Kiel of Luxembourg. Abdullahu here representing Kosovo. And there is Hinriksdottir. It was a 2017 in which she was third in the 800 metres at the European Indoor Championships. On to McNamara, who won the 800 metres at the Games of the Small States of Europe, second in the 1500. Relaxa Doughty, that was the 23-year-old Albanian. Martins Patricio represents Andorra. She's just turned 21 this month. And Botnari of Moldova. Personal best of 2:15.94. So, yes, very much expecting once again that despite some 12 seconds in difference in personal best between some of the athletes here, that the gap may well end up looking closer just because this is a championship race. And, well, there's no need to run out front and be at one's very best. We could see a more tactical style of 2 laps at the track. Hinriksdottir, as we saw on the graphic just a brief moment ago, has run 2:03.71 this year. McNamara a touch faster. And McNamara, who was second a couple of years ago as well. That was behind Louise Shanahan of Ireland. And of course, the Republic of Ireland were promoted to the second division. They'll feature this weekend in Maribor as a result. So McNamara, you can see just in the red and white on the outside there, she's got herself in a great position. An experienced athlete, and as a result, she doesn't really block there. She's someone who studied at the University of Michigan and works for General Motors. The tall figure there, you can see on the outside, just leading is Carol Kiel, who has national titles across 400, 800 and 5,000 metres. Another close race, this one, Rob.
It is, and it's a lot slower than the first of the 800s. 68 at the bell, as opposed to about a 66. Carol Kiel looks very, very comfortable here, but so too does Hinriksdottir, the Icelandic youngster who used to love leading from the front. Now she's learnt a little more sophisticated ways to win, but don't rule out McNamara, the tall figure from Malta, who closed the gap as they came round to hear the bell. And she's in the perfect position to strike if those in front of her start to tire.
Yes, a move being made there. McNamara almost giving the eyes to Kiel and to Hinriksdottir. And look at that change of pace, visibly so. Now pushing away these two. Malta against Iceland. McNamara gritting her teeth. She looks around and she sees the cool, calm figure of Hinriksdottir, who's pushing towards the line. Different running styles of these two athletes. But McNamara of Malta gets it impressively. 2:10.06. Well, that was fantastic. There was a little bit of mind games there, maybe. The move was made. Hinriksdottir reacted sharply, Rob. But in the end, McNamara had the speed to get away and to hold on terrifically.
Well, if I was her coach, I'd have been screaming at her, stop looking around. I thought she was just giving Hinriksdottir enough motivation to believe that she'd gone too early. I thought McNamara struck beautifully there with 200 to go. I know she overtook on the bend, so she's taking on extra distance. But as she did so, she looked around, possibly indicating, good finish by the Albanian, by the way, absolutely brilliant, just on the line from Kill to deny the Luxembourg athlete a place on the podium. But as McNamara came past, brilliant piece of tactical running, but she then handed a little bit of a bit of belief to Hinriksdottir because she kept looking over. There she is. That wasn't the only time she looked around after hitting the front. It's almost like I've given it everything, and if you come back at me, I'm going to wilt. When actually the opposite was true. And as Hinriksdottir wound up the wick and put her under pressure, it was the taller figure from Malta, who's not as smooth looking perhaps, with a little bit of tension in her shoulders. She found an extra gear, and that would have annoyed Hinriksdottir because she would have thought that the Maltese athlete had gone too early. That wasn't the case. She struck with 200 to go, and as it turned out, she had more than enough to relegate the Icelandic athlete to second. Malta first, Iceland second, and there comes the smile and realisation. She's won that race fair and square here in Slovenia. Brilliant run and very, very entertaining to watch. Really enjoyed that.
Well, I make it that at least 7 countries have now won one of the disciplines that we've seen so far today. This is the best performance by a Maltese athlete today. I think hard to argue with that. McNamara on top, 2:10.05, half a second thereabouts ahead of Hinriksdottir. What a battle it was between the top two. Not the first situation in which we've seen a clear first and second, both in terms of predictions before and actual results afterwards. And as a result, once you put those two results together, you see that they're still well on top. But the winner, Yusupova, ends up in 6th place, 37-year-old who has the 5,000 metres to come